Thanks, Steve, for your kind words. Media Post was actually one of the very first conferences I ever spoke at back in New York. I think my session title was Mobilizing the Bear. We had just launched some new mobile initiatives, and part of my job was, in fact, to be the mascot. So we will start today. Give you a little bit of history on A&W, a little bit of history on myself. I've recently been able to step into a new role at the brand. I started with A&W back in 2011, right after their split with Yum, and have been on the marketing team, largely coming up in digital, in social, and I've had the opportunity to step into more of a menu innovation role. I've been heading up the marketing team for the last 2 years, and so we've got some cool stuff to talk about. But brief history on A&W. How many people are familiar? We've been around since 1919. I am going to steal Wing Zone saying I would love for our brand to live in 2002. That would be awesome. That would be progress. But all joking aside, there's a lot of good things that come with having a brand that's been around for 104 years. And there's a lot of challenges, especially in the technology space. So fast forward, we're going to skip a bunch of decades. Last couple of years, we've really been focusing on product quality, leaning into menu innovation. We're trying to get a loyalty program off the ground. All of those things are kind of happening in the background. So that's me. Something to know, A&W is actually the only brand I've ever worked for. Before this, I was in politics. That is me, age 4. It was my 4th birthday. In 1988, my family had just moved to Malaysia. I did not know anybody, but I did know Rudy the Great Root Bear. So thought it was kind of fun. That was my 4th birthday. But I have a lot of institutional knowledge, so I'm happy to talk to all of you, hopefully, at some point throughout this conference. Okay, so 2020, very excited. Got to step into the role, leading the marketing team. We're gonna have a loyalty program. We're gonna revamp the menu. We're gonna do online ordering. We're gonna get an app. And then all of a sudden, COVID hits, and all of those plans immediately go out the window. So we're looking at restaurants that are closing, dining rooms can't be open, drive-through is now really what's going to save us, and we have to shift all of our focus towards that. So we had some operators that were super innovative. We had operators that were doing double drive-throughs, makeshift ones. You can actually use a deer stand and an iPad to do a second drive-through lane, which I thought was brilliant. We went from having an online ordering program that was basically dead in the water to operators saying, I need delivery and online ordering yesterday. So all of those shifted. So we get all of that taken care of. Things start to open up. It seems to look a little bit better. Oh my God, we don't have anybody to work in our restaurants. So suddenly, we've got to scrap all of our plans again. We've got to work with our restaurant teams, our operators, our field team, and come up with ways that we can attract new people to come work at A&W, and also ways that we can keep the people that we have. So we shift our focus. We did a really fun hiring campaign based around the fact that our celebrities are our people. It was kind of a pun and a spoof on some of the different influencer programs that other brands have been doing. And we start to see a little bit of tension ease. So now we're going to get to start to do all the cool stuff. Oh my God, food is so expensive now. Everything is expensive. So this is another one of the challenges that I'm sure everybody in this room has had to face and had to deal with. So how are you going to do menu innovation when food is insanely expensive? You don't really have that many people. Everyone's depressed, which doesn't really help anything. But we have to move forward. We have to move forward. So the way that I think is like, all right, I can't control any of that stuff. What can we control? You can control your menu. Kind of. And I'll let you know what that little asterisk is here in a second. Let's think simply. And that's also just one of my tactics whenever I feel overwhelmed is like, okay, keep it simple. Simple's not easy though. So we're sort of known for our root beer. So that's a promotion that we can push. Beverages are profits. It's easy to execute. It's super portable to put out through the drive-through. Let's do a $1.99 float promotion. If everybody in the United States had a float, their day might be a little bit better. That seemed to get some traction. Another product that we have that is super indulgent, very tasty, it's good for sad people, is cheese curds. I don't know about you, but if I'm not feeling great, fried cheese is a great way to go and alleviate some of that. So we pushed our cheese curds. This was a core product. We knew that we could get this product in and out of the fryer, fairly easy to execute, also very easy to eat on the road. Great. We also wanted to push our chicken tenders. This was right before chicken became the most expensive product known to man. And this is my asterisk, because this was a promotion we were scheduled to launch in 2021. I am not exaggerating. The day before these kits were set to ship out to restaurants, our supplier called and said, hey, you know the cups that you put your coleslaw in? We can't get those, and we don't know when they're coming back. So the day before these kits shipped to restaurants, we had to pull them because of a stupid thing like a little styrofoam cup. I have not had coleslaw since. Dead to me, that's the hill I will die on. No coleslaw for me, and I'm trying to get it out of our restaurants. So what's one thing that we do have that we can sell that's fairly easy to execute, that's very recognizable? Burgers. Super indulgent, very premium. So we played around with a couple of different things. On the left-hand side there, you can see that's our Papa Burger. We played around with doing our combos with more premium sides. So shaking it up a little bit, switch out your fries for onion rings. You can charge a little bit more for that. We've got a signature dipping sauce that's really good, and that did really well. Bacon always sells well, also insanely expensive. But one of the things that we're known for is our bacon double cheeseburger. We also introduced a mushroom onion melt. It's probably my personal favorite burger. Swiss cheese, grilled mushrooms and onions, really great, super premium. Not really easy to eat while you're driving, but you can do it. So we decided to really lean into burgers. Burgers are bigger, burgers are better, burgers are premium. Burgers aren't new. And that was feedback that we got largely from our operators. This is great, we're selling more burgers, we're starting to get more customers back, but this isn't really that exciting. How are you gonna jazz this up? And so we started thinking about the different real estate that we have in the restaurant and where you can really reach your consumer. And this is where it really comes in that I'm relatively new to the merchandising space and to the menu space, and I ask a lot of questions. And one of the questions that I asked, I have been told multiple times by multiple people that your menu is not for merchandising. Your menu is not for marketing. It's a tool, it's what your customers use, you gotta have it, but your menu's not for marketing. And my question was why? Why not? What's the one thing that everybody who goes to a restaurant is most likely to look at, especially when you're in the drive-thru? You might not see a yard sign, you might not see a banner, you're definitely not gonna see counter cards or table tents if your dining rooms are closed, but you're going to see the drive-through menu. So we took a look at our menu, we really wanted to think critically and strategically about how we were going to show our products, but that was a long-term initiative, and we also needed something that had a little bit of pop, had a little bit of punch, and would get people's attention, specifically focused on burgers. So 104-year-old brand, a lot of history. I've got a lot of trivia information for people later. Comes up every once in a while on Jeopardy. But one of the things this is a true story, this actually happened, in the 1980s was when we first introduced our third-pound double burger. So it's not new, it's been around since the 80s. What people might not know is that there was a campaign centered around this burger. It was right after McDonald's started pushing their quarter pounder, and our burgers were bigger, and our burgers were better. So the marketing team in the 80s spent a ton of time, ton of money, millions of dollars, came up with a brilliant campaign, all focused on the third-pound burger, bigger is better. And they had to pull it almost immediately because Americans are bad at math. And they didn't know that a third pound was bigger than a quarter pound. True story. And we knew this, and this circulates on Reddit every few months. We see things on Twitter. This is one of the questions that we get the most on our social media. And up until last year, we really hadn't done a lot with that information other than confirm to people, yeah, embarrassing, true, still selling a third-pound burger. Sorry about it. And one of the things that we really wanted to do to energize our operators, energize our marketing team, get our agency re-engaged, was do something really fun around burgers. So 104 years, a lot of times we look back to look forward, and we thought we'd take advantage of this.
In the 1980s, A&W launched an advertising campaign to promote a new third-pound burger. It was bigger and beefier than the competition's puny quarter-pound option. And the price was the same. So how come nobody bought it? Turns out, Americans are just terrible at math. Like, really bad. Everybody thought that 1/3 was smaller than 1/4 because, 4 is bigger than 3. The whole thing went down in history as a huge marketing fail. And we've spent the last 40 years crunching the numbers. Our best mathematicians working day in and day out, trying to crack the uncrackable code, solving the insolvable equation to claw our way back from this embarrassing episode. And we've done it. Introducing the A&W 3 Nights Burger. It's bigger. Genius.
I have probably seen that 1,000 times. It's like the first time every time. It was one of my favorite things that we've worked on. So this was the little punch that we had. This was something that was getting people talking about our burgers. Our teams really loved it. Yes, we did have people going to the drive-thru and asking for a 3 Nights Pound burger. We had to put it in our internal communications. We had math equations that showed that this wasn't a new product. We were getting people who were like, you didn't send us anything for these new 3 Nights burgers. So it was very meta. It was like, oh, this is how this happened in the 80s. Yes, I see how this can be tricky. Super fun, a little bit of positivity. What happened with it? Well, of course, we have metrics that we can measure. We got a ton of press on it. We had colleges and universities reaching out to us, marketing classes that wanted to use it as a case study, as an example. I got to be on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, which for like a nerd was a dream, amazing. It's the only thing I've ever done in my professional career that my mom has noticed. So, check, we've got that. But one of the numbers that I really want to point out on here, besides all of the fun that we had with that campaign, was that we saw the increase of our double burgers go up 10%, which is not nothing. So going back to our long-term initiative of looking at the menu and really thinking about it strategically and thinking about how we want to show our food to consumers, it's been really interesting, and I've really enjoyed this part of the job, is thinking about the menu psychologically. How do people read? Left to right, top to bottom? Do you put combo numbers on the left or on the right? What size font do you have to have? How big can the photos be? How much white space do you need? It's all very interesting, but it's going to take a long time, and this is a project that we know is going to be iterative. One of the things I always say about menu boards is the good news is it will never be done, and the bad news is that we will never be done. So there will always be work to do. But combos are our biggest seller. Burgers are our biggest seller out of the combos. Seem to be a very natural place to start. So you'll see a little bit closer. This is our new menu board. This rolled out in our restaurants starting this October, actually, so it's making its way across the country. We're hoping to be done in spring with kind of phase 1, which really put our focus on combos, on premium products, on premium burgers. One of the things that I really like about this menu as a brand that was built on root beer is it starts with a float and it ends with root beer. If you're reading top to bottom, left to right, wasn't totally on purpose, but I think it's kind of a happy accident. And we started testing this in about 16 of our restaurants before we decided to move forward with the rollout. We had some franchise partners who were very willing, very gracious, and very honest with their feedback. We know if there's one thing that franchisees love, it's change. So I joke, we had great partners, but they were very honest with the feedback. And one of the things that we got the most pushback on is, if you'll notice, on this final first version of this menu, is there's no single burgers on here. Is it as simple as showing people what you want them to buy? And those are some of the sentences that I say to myself, and I'm like, simple is best, simple's not easy. Can it really be boiled down to that? Is it that simple? So we rolled out this menu test in a couple different parts of the country. One of the things that was the most, caused the most tension between us and the test restaurants is we're very known for our bacon cheeseburger. It's our claim to fame. We invented it in 1963. We were the first chain to put it on the menu. You're welcome. And we took it off the menu. And that was like very much a kill your darlings moment. We got a lot of phone calls. We got a lot of emails. Our operators couldn't believe that we would take one of our signature products off the menu. Now, it doesn't mean you can't order a single burger at A&W. You absolutely can. That's one of the questions that we ask. If you say I want a number 1 and you want it as a single, the answer is yes, we'll sell that to you. But if you look at the menu, you've got limited physical real estate. So why would you show somebody something that you wouldn't want them to order? So we took singles off the menu. And then we waited. And it turns out that after 25 weeks of testing, our sale of single burgers versus double burgers were now over 70% of what people were ordering in that category. So now, just to be sure that it wasn't a fluke, we decided to put that single bacon cheeseburger back on the menu just to see what would happen. And that's what you can see in week 26. Unfortunately, we were right, which is also a weird thing to say. But putting that single burger back on the menu encouraged people to order it. So it turns out it really is as simple as showing people what you would like them to buy, but you've got to make some tough choices along the way, like maybe killing your single bacon cheeseburger or taking it off the menu. Some of the next iterations that we're looking at is our portable sweets and treats. So drive-through is still the vast majority of our business. We like to sell shakes and floats and our root beer cream freeze because they come in a cup, super portable, easy to put in your cup holder. We're also expanding our sides menu. You'll notice we rebranded it as Snacks and Sides because we want people to think about cheese curds as maybe an in-between meal. That's something you can grab on your way home from work or school. It's not quite lunch, it's not quite dinner, but it is fried cheese, and that's always a good idea. We've also introduced some larger sides. We now have large onion rings and large chili cheese fries that we're seeing people order with 2 beverages. So they're splitting a side and getting 2 drinks. We're expanding some actual product innovation now, which is really exciting. We're looking at some more premium loaded sides. We're looking at bigger sizes. We just introduced a triple cheeseburger as an LTO, which is 0.5 of a pound. If anybody is doing the math, it's a full half pound. And we're really seeing some legs and some traction on that. So those are some of the things that we've looked at, and there's a lot that goes into this. I'm happy to talk with anybody afterwards and throughout the conference because this is a 2.5-year project that is just coming to fruition. We also still have restaurants that are co-branded with KFC and Long John Silver's from when we were owned by Yum. We've just started a co-brand test, and that portion of it really was more operational than our base brand restaurants. It's tricky when you basically have 2 full restaurants operating under the same roof, especially when they sell such different products. Now that there are labor constraints and there's issues with training, we need to really make things as simple as possible. In our test menus for the co-brands, we took off sundaes and we took off Polar Swirls, which is one of our products very similar to a Blizzard. And that not only eliminated several SKUs, but it eliminated a piece of equipment. So you've got more room back of house. So we're continuing to work on this. It's been a really great project to work on, but it turns out that it really is as simple as showing people what you would like them to buy. Any questions?
Liz, thank you so much. We have a couple of minutes for some quick questions. If anybody has some questions of Liz. Yep.
I was wondering what your Hi, everybody. My name is Daisy, and I'm with Farmer Boys. I was wondering if the work you did on the drive-through menu panel was also work you had in the in-store menu or to-go menu, and then also what your KPIs were for the project.
Great question. Yes, we started with the drive-through just because that was what was open, and then we sort of worked our way inside. Our interior menus, we have so many different configurations. We've got 12 panels, we've got 5 panels, we have some digital menu boards, so that was a little bit more labor intensive. We also have restaurants that still have exterior ordering systems, so like Sonic style. We've just started that portion of the project because those restaurants typically sell a lot more, and we've got to kind of pare down that menu. In terms of KPIs, really the golden KPI for us is increased profitable same-store sales. So can you make your operators more money that they can actually see? And we did see very positive results during the test. And so far, knock on every piece of wood, fingers crossed, we're seeing that with the rollout too.
Liz, thank you so much.